Before 2026 truly begins, pause for a moment and ask yourself this question. How many days have passed where you were busy all day yet moved nowhere in life? You woke up with plans, you had intentions, you told yourself today will be different, but the day took over, messages, distractions, other people's priorities, and suddenly it was night again. And the scariest part isn't that one bad day, it's realizing how easily one day becomes a week, a month, a year. What if 2026 didn't repeat that cycle? What if this was the year you finally stopped reacting and started leading your life? This is not about working harder. This is not about waking up earlier than everyone else. This is about controlling your day before it controls you. Stay with me until the end, because the system you're about to hear isn't complicated, it's powerful, and if you apply it daily, 2026 will not just be another year you survive, it will be the year you win. The idea that your calendar is your real boss means that your life moves in the direction of what you consistently give time to, not what you say you want. Every goal, whether it is building a business, improving health, learning a skill, or creating financial freedom, requires focused time. If that time is not deliberately planned, it will be taken by distractions, interruptions, and other people's priorities. Most people believe they lack discipline or motivation, but in reality, they lack structure. When your day has no clear plan, decision fatigue sets in, and you start reacting instead of leading. The calendar becomes a mirror of your values. If your schedule is full of low-value tasks, meetings with no purpose, and endless scrolling, then no matter how big your dreams are, your actions are working against them. When you control your calendar, you stop negotiating with yourself throughout the day. You already decided in advance what matters, so you don't waste mental energy choosing what to do next. This creates clarity and momentum. High performers understand that time is a non-renewable resource, so they treat their calendar like a financial budget. Every hour is assigned a job. This doesn't mean filling every minute, it means being intentional. Free time is also scheduled because rest without guilt restores energy and focus. When something important is blocked on the calendar, it becomes non-negotiable. Just like a meeting with someone you respect, letting your calendar run on autopilot allows urgency to replace importance. Messages, notifications, and last-minute requests begin to dictate your day. Over time, this trains your brain to prioritize reacting over creating. You stay busy but feel stuck. Taking control of your calendar flips this pattern. You decide when you work deeply, when you communicate, and when you recharge. This creates a sense of authority over your own life. Instead of asking where the time went at the end of the day, you can see exactly how it was invested. A controlled calendar also builds self-trust. Each time you show up for what you scheduled, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. Confidence grows not from big wins, but from keeping small promises to yourself. When your goals live on your calendar, they stop being wishes and start becoming commitments. Winning the first hour of the day means taking control before the world has a chance to pull you in 100 different directions. The moment you wake up, your mind is at its most impressionable state. Whatever you feed it first sets the tone for your thoughts, emotions, and decisions for the rest of the day. When the first thing you reach for is your phone, you are instantly placing yourself in a reactive mode. Messages, news, and notifications create urgency that is rarely aligned with your real priorities. This fragments your focus and makes it harder to regain clarity later. Starting the day intentionally shifts you from reacting to leading. The first hour is powerful because it creates momentum. Small, disciplined actions done consistently send a signal to your brain that you are in control. This does not require a complex routine or hours of preparation. It requires consistency and purpose. Simple actions like movement, hydration, breathing, or quiet reflection help regulate your nervous system and sharpen your focus. When your body and mind are aligned early, stress has less power over you. You respond to challenges instead of feeling overwhelmed by them. Confidence grows because you have already kept a promise to yourself before most people have even started their day. Winning the morning also protects your most valuable mental energy. Your willpower and focus are strongest at the beginning of the day. Using that energy intentionally allows you to think clearly, plan effectively, and make better decisions. When you skip this intentional start, your energy gets drained by distractions, and important tasks feel heavier than they should. A strong first hour acts like an anchor. Even if the rest of the day becomes unpredictable, you have already established a sense of progress and control that carries forward. This practice builds identity over time. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is always behind or rushing. You begin to identify as someone who prepares, leads, and executes with purpose. The morning becomes a signal to your subconscious that you take your life seriously. Over weeks and months, this compounds into discipline, clarity, and self-respect. The day no longer controls your mood because you already decided how it would begin. The idea that one priority beats 10 intentions is about cutting through mental noise and directing your energy toward what actually creates progress. Most people start their day with a long mental list of things they hope to accomplish. This creates pressure, not productivity. When everything feels important, nothing truly is. The brain becomes scattered, jumping from task to task, never fully engaging with any of them. This leads to exhaustion without meaningful results. Focusing on a single priority brings clarity. It forces you to ask what truly matters today, not what feels urgent or convenient. Choosing one priority does not mean ignoring responsibility. It means deciding which action will move your life forward the most if completed. This creates a clear target for your attention and energy. When you know exactly what defines a successful day, you remove uncertainty. Your mind can relax and focus because it understands the mission. Progress accelerates because attention is no longer divided. Depth replaces speed, and quality replaces constant motion. Completing one meaningful task creates a sense of accomplishment that fuels motivation for everything else. This approach also reduces procrastination. Large goals often feel overwhelming because they are vague and undefined. A single priority turns abstract ambition into a concrete action. Instead of thinking about everything that needs to be done, you focus on the next right move. This lowers resistance and makes starting easier. Once momentum begins, the brain naturally wants to continue. Productivity becomes a byproduct of focus rather than force. There is also a psychological benefit to this discipline. Each time you complete your one priority, you build trust with yourself. You prove that you can follow through. Over time, this strengthens confidence and self-belief. You stop measuring your day by how busy you were and start measuring it by impact. Even on days when unexpected issues arise, you still know what defines a win. This protects your mindset from feeling like a failure when everything does not go perfectly. Living by one priority trains you to think strategically. You begin to evaluate tasks based on value instead of volume. This skill compounds over time and influences how you plan weeks, months, and years. Your days stop feeling random because they are connected by intensity. Focus becomes a habit and momentum becomes sustainable. The idea that energy management matters more than time management comes from the reality that not all hours produce the same results. Two people can have the same amount of time in a day, yet one makes massive progress while the other feels drained and stuck. The difference is not the clock, but the quality of energy brought into each hour. When energy is high, focus is sharp, decisions are easier, and execution is faster. When energy is low, even simple tasks feel heavy and progress slows down. Managing energy means understanding when you are at your best and protecting those periods from distractions and low-value work. Most people try to squeeze productivity out of exhaustion by pushing longer hours, but this approach leads to burnout and diminishing returns. Mental clarity and creative thinking require recovery, not constant effort. When you ignore your energy levels, you end up working against yourself. Tasks that require deep thinking get done when you are tired, while your best hours are wasted on scrolling, meetings, or minor errands. Energy management flips this pattern by aligning demanding work with peak focus and lighter tasks with lower energy periods. Protecting energy also means setting boundaries. Every unnecessary interruption steals more than time, it breaks concentration, and increases mental fatigue. Each time you switch tasks, your brain pays a cost to refocus. Over a day, this adds up to significant energy loss. By limiting notifications, batching communication, and creating protected focus blocks, you preserve mental strength. This allows you to work with intensity for shorter periods instead of dragging tasks out all day. Physical habits play a major role as well. Sleep, movement, hydration, and nutrition directly affect mental performance. Ignoring these basics while chasing productivity is like trying to drive faster with an empty tank. When your body is supported, your mind becomes more resilient. Stress becomes manageable, and pressure no longer drains you as quickly. Energy also comes from alignment. When your work connects to a clear purpose, you naturally feel more driven and engaged. When you manage energy intentionally, productivity becomes sustainable. You stop relying on willpower and start working in rhythm with yourself. Progress feels lighter, and consistency becomes easier to maintain. Instead of ending the day exhausted with little to show for it, you finish knowing your best energy was invested where it mattered most. The idea that daily systems outperform motivation comes from understanding how unreliable emotions are. Motivation is temporary and unpredictable. Some days you feel driven and inspired, while other days you feel tired, distracted, or doubtful. If progress depends on feeling motivated, results will always be inconsistent. Systems remove emotion from the equation. A system is a set of simple actions you repeat regardless of how you feel. It creates structure that carries you forward even when enthusiasm disappears. This is why disciplined people often succeed without relying on constant inspiration. Daily systems work because they reduce the need for decision making. When actions are predefined, you don't waste mental energy debating whether or not to act. You simply follow the process. This consistency compounds over time. Small actions repeated daily create massive results, while big efforts done occasionally rarely last. A system focuses on what you do every day, not what you plan to do someday. This shifts success from being a matter of willpower to a matter of routine. Motivation is often a reaction to progress, not the cause of it. People believe they need to feel motivated before they take action, but in reality, action creates motivation. Systems ensure action happens first. Once movement begins, confidence and motivation naturally follow. This is especially important on difficult days. A system does not care if you are tired or discouraged. It lowers the barrier to entry so you can still show up, even at a reduced level. Showing up consistently protects momentum. Systems also build identity. Each time you follow your system, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. This self-image becomes stronger than temporary emotions. Over time, discipline becomes automatic. You no longer need to force yourself because the behavior is part of who you are. This is how habits turn into standards. You stop negotiating with yourself because the decision has already been made. Relying on motivation keeps people stuck in cycles of starting and stopping. Systems create stability. They provide direction on days when clarity is low and structure when life becomes chaotic. This is why long-term success almost always comes from simple, repeatable processes rather than bursts of inspiration. Ending the day with clarity instead of chaos is about intentionally closing the mental loops that drain focus and create stress. Throughout the day, your mind collects unfinished tasks, unresolved thoughts, and lingering concerns. If these are not addressed before rest, they carry over into the evening and disrupt both recovery and sleep. When the day ends without reflection, the brain keeps working in the background, replaying mistakes and worrying about what comes next. This mental clutter reduces the quality of rest and makes the next morning feel rushed and heavy. A clear ending creates psychological closure. Taking a few minutes to review what actually happened during the day allows you to separate facts from emotions. You see what moved forward and what didn't without judgment. This removes the feeling that nothing was accomplished, which is often inaccurate. Recognizing progress, even small wins, reinforces confidence and prevents burnout. At the same time, identifying what didn't work provides useful feedback instead of self-criticism. This turns each day into a learning cycle rather than an emotional roller coaster. Clarity at the end of the day also prepares the mind for tomorrow. When you define your next priority in advance, your brain relaxes because it knows what to focus on next. This reduces anxiety and decision fatigue in the morning. Instead of waking up and immediately feeling behind, you start with direction. Mental energy is preserved because the hardest thinking has already been done. This simple practice creates a smooth transition between days, making progress feel continuous rather than fragmented. This habit strengthens discipline and self-awareness. It encourages responsibility without pressure. You are not judging yourself, you are observing patterns. Over time, you begin to notice which actions produce the best results and which habits drain energy. This awareness allows you to adjust intentionally instead of repeating the same mistakes. Ending the day with clarity also improves emotional regulation. Letting go of the day prevents stress from accumulating and spilling into personal time. When each day is closed with intention, life feels more organized and manageable. The sense of control grows because nothing feels unresolved. Sleep becomes deeper, mornings become calmer, and focus becomes sharper. Small daily reflections quietly compound into long-term confidence and consistent execution. As 2026 begins, understand this clearly. Success is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in ordinary days that are controlled with intention. When you own your calendar, you decide what matters. When you win the first hour, you set the direction. When you focus on one priority, you create momentum. When you protect your energy, you work with power instead of pressure. When you rely on systems instead of motivation, consistency becomes automatic. And when you end each day with clarity, progress compounds quietly but relentlessly. Control your day, and the year will align behind your actions. This is not about you doing more. It is about doing what matters every single day with purpose and discipline. Good luck, thank you message. Good luck as you step into 2026 with focus, clarity, and confidence. May you show up for yourself daily. Trust the process you build and stay committed even when it feels uncomfortable. Thank you for taking the time to invest in your mindset and your future. The fact that you are here listening and learning already puts you ahead. Stay consistent, stay intentional, and keep moving forward.